Hello, my friends. This is Tino Montelongo, your host, an American entrepreneur. And once again, thank you. And where I promise you that we're going to do a show in English, and we're going to be featuring local Ventura County successful entrepreneurs. And today I have a special guest, Peter Kalaydjian.
Thank you,
Thank
Tino.
you very much.
How are you?
With Contact Escrow. Mm-hmm. He's very successful. I know Peter for a while, and I wanted people to see his story. You know, a lot of people see him, doing all these good things, and they don't know the struggle that you had doing all these things. And he was telling me the story, but I want you to know where he comes and where he's going, and the beautiful things that he's doing right now. So, Peter, you're telling me you were an entrepreneur since 14. What were you doing at 14?
I was working any job I can get. I couldn't drive, obviously, at 14, so wherever my bicycle or skateboard would take me to. Had all sorts of odd and end jobs until I was actually 16. And it's just been, from ground up, it's just a matter of working hard and being, staying on schedule. My parents instilled that in me, is to live within your means and don't spend more money than you actually think you have.
Yes.
Because once the government shows up with the bill, you don't have that money anymore. But it's just dedication and a lot of hard work is all I can say. Is do as you say as you do. Everything is about relationships and networking. Never burn a bridge. Yes. And you just help as many people along the way as possible. And don't expect anything back from anybody. The profit comes to your heart, not to your pocket. And you would be surprised how people you've helped along the way, maybe they can or can't help you, down the road, but don't expect anything. Just give as much as you can personally and professionally. Help other people in their personal life and their professional life. And the reward is very, very profitable. Let me just say again, and when I say profit, I don't mean in your pocket. I'm talking about in your heart. My parents instilled that in me when I was very, very young. I started off as a little Cub Scout, then went to Boy Scouts, and I'm proud to say I'm an Eagle Scout right now. And I've been helping little old ladies across the street since I was a kid.
But how did you start your first business? Because you said you went to college, right?
Well,
and then your family
I started my business before I even graduated high school. My brother and I decided to start selling. We like camping because we were in the Boy Scouts, so we started selling anything we can get, any odds and ends that we could buy from garage sales and different suppliers of camouflage clothing, Coleman stoves and whatnot. So we would gather all of these things and go to local swap meets and flea markets and start selling them. And then we graduated into buying real product from actual suppliers, and then we went to indoor swap meets, which was a big wow for us. And did that for about 6 or 7 years, but prior to finishing the indoor swap meets, we opened our first retail store. We were given the opportunity by a gentleman in Tarzana. He owned the entire block. We had no credit. We had no real business experience to offer on our application. Right. And he was very hesitant in leasing us the space, but he said, you know what? I believe you guys are going to make it. Yeah. I trust you guys. And it was just that little help that he gave us that helped us turn our small retail store into a nice little empire right now. We rented his space until he passed away. The entire half that block got demolished and turned into a big development. And I was telling you earlier how we found our first retail store. Well, the first retail store that we bought, I actually got in the car and just started driving up and down Ventura Boulevard looking for a building to buy because there was nothing really listed that would fit our needs. And the realtors just kept saying, there's nothing for you, Pete. So I got in the car, drove up and down.
How old were you back when you were
I was probably 22.
Wow, you're pretty young.
Yeah, we started when I was 14, 15.
Yeah, exactly, so. And looking around for a big building.
Looking around for a big building to buy. By now we have our established clientele and we know it's going to work. So we stopped looking for rentals. We really wanted to buy something. And saw a little sign that said for rent and didn't want to leave a single stone unturned. So we actually met with the owner of the building and offered to purchase the building. and work things out. He initially didn't want to sell, but turned out that he actually did want to sell, and he was very appreciative that we took this building off his hands. And the guy traveled the country and sent us postcards everywhere he went because he was so happy that we were able to
do him that,
to relieve him of that nest egg that he thought that he had to be chained down to. It's just a series of feel good things. You know, you surround yourself with good, positive energy people that want to do good things, people that have the same outlook that you have in life. Steer clear of the drama people, steer clear of the fake people, steer clear of the posers that are wannabes, that talk big but really have nothing to offer. Just stay within your means. And this is something that we've been instilled, and we continue to live by those same attributes.
We're going to come back right now too, but I want to be able to talk to you about in regards to reaching out to the young kids out there, because you told me a really good story. So when we come back, we're going to actually ask him some good questions when he was a young pup. Thank you. We're back to American Entrepreneur. I'm here with Peter, and we're going to continue the conversation that we had. Now, one of the things that a lot of young people ask themselves, how do these people do it? How do they reach that goal? I mean, you obviously, at what point in your mind you said, I got to sacrifice this, I got to do this? What message can you tell a young person? Well, not just a young person, just that person is sitting down and say, I want to start my own business. What message can you send?
Well, you can forget about all the luxuries in life initially. Stop looking at other people that live paycheck to paycheck, that probably live beyond paycheck to paycheck, and they ramp up their credit cards. And they
don't look at me, Peter, like that.
No.
We all did it.
I had the discipline not to do it. I didn't have.
And I admire that about you.
I just didn't. You know, you asked me what are some of the most difficult things. That was probably one of the most difficult things, is going through the younger years and seeing all of the people, all my friends that I graduated with and grew up with, go off and have vacations and have nice cars and really enjoy life at a younger stage. I enjoyed life, but I enjoyed it proportionally. I didn't enjoy over my means. I didn't rack up tremendous credit card bills. I charged something on a credit card, but I knew I had the money to pay for it at the end of the month. Never got myself into trouble. You just look at how everybody else gets themselves into trouble and stay away from it. It's really that simple. It's not the most fun thing to do, but it's definitely the most responsible thing to do. And if you want to grow an empire, if you really want to be a successful entrepreneur, you got to forget about the fun stuff for a while until you're absolutely stable and you have your financial structure and you've already put your retirement plan into place. That's when you get to start having fun. Right about now, I could retire if I wanted to. I don't think I'll ever retire.
I don't think you will.
I can't. I wake up in the morning. I wake up in the morning and I think about what I'm going to do today, and none of that involves anything fun. It's more about how we can excel in a business world. I'm thinking about how I can structure my financial future so the family that we've grown will also be successful, and not just me. Just be selfless, not selfish.
Yeah, you're right. You know, one of the things that I enjoy now that you're posting stuff on Facebook, before you didn't post that many things, but I noticed that you go first class on your plane, you travel the world. You know, obviously they did not come easy, and that's the reason I wanted to do the show, because, you know, you struggle too. But you're right. You had to be disciplined to get where you're at right now.
It's true. And again, it's back to being strategic.
Yeah.
I don't think I will ever have enough money in my bank account to pay $16,000 for a first class ticket.
Yeah.
So another strategy is that we, in our distribution company,
You have two companies.
I have two companies. Yes. In my distribution company, I've spent a long time perfecting how I spend and where I spend, and I use the credit card companies with their points and miles.
Fly miles, yeah.
The fly miles.
Smart.
I mean, at any given time, I have over 2 million miles.
Wow.
Now the downside is I have all these miles, but I don't ever take vacations to spend them. And when you see me flying first class, I'm flying to a trade show or a business conference and or a meeting. So at this junction, I just typically mix business with pleasure.
Right.
So at the end of the show, we'll fly my wife out, and then we'll continue traveling somewhere in Europe, just kind of mixing business with pleasure. But every breath I take has something to do with business. You just have to be passionate about it. Don't make money to have fun. Have fun and make money at the same time.
Yeah.
It's really simple. You have to enjoy what you're doing. It can't be a job. It's got to be something that you really do enjoy doing and you find challenging. It's what inspires you.
And you mentioned your wife too, and I noticed that obviously that you guys have two businesses. You have a very successful distribution company, and you also have an escrow company that's been really successful. You started 7 years ago.
Yes, Contact Escrow. Yeah. Well, my wife, Christina, she's a third-generation escrow officer. She learned from her parents that learned from their parents, and all three generations are still in the escrow business. So when we met, and then I bought this building in Camarillo, I didn't need so much office space, and she was at that time working for another broker, making all sorts of money for him, and I said, honey, why can't we start one of these companies? And she said, well, we can. She's managed several of them, and I said, but we have to be different. We have to be the best at what we do. That's just my rule. Yeah. We can't be second to anybody. And I said, tell me a little bit about who our customers are. She said, well, our clients are realtors and lenders. And I said, well, how do they get paid? Yes. And she said, they get paid on commission. They're all commission only. And I said, why don't we start an escrow company where all our escrow officers are commission only? She looked at me like I was crazy. And she said, it'll never work. No one will come work for us. And I said, it will work. Let's try it. Well, I think it kills several birds with one stone. When an escrow officer is really good at what they do, they have a following. Yes. What we call a book of business. Yes. Wherever they go, their clients will follow them. That's true. Okay. Most of the big-hitting escrow officers work for other companies that pay them a tiny portion of what they're really worth. So we started the only commission-only the first and only, to the best of my knowledge, commission-only escrow company in the United States. And we pay our escrow officers very well, and only after they pay us very well. So in other words, if you have a good book of business, you work for us and we split the profits. Whatever the escrow fee is, they take 50%, we keep 50%. So an escrow officer, a good escrow officer that typically books about $500,000 to $600,000 in escrow fees a year, in our company will take home $300,000, which is unheard of in this industry. The best of the best escrow officers that work for other companies that sometimes book up to $1 million in escrow fees, they only get paid about $120,000, $130,000.
And they're working 12 hours.
They're working down to the bone, where in our company, it's really, you take half of what you make.
Not just that, you also have a really good environment. I met some of the people, some of the escrow officers. They're really good people.
They are great people, and we're proud to announce we're the largest escrow company in Ventura County now. We have 8 escrow officers and still growing. It's been a phenomenal adventure, and it's almost like it's a revolution, you know. To really create an environment where only the best of the best can work. Yes. If you wanted to come to work, play on Facebook, mess around, take a vacation, this, that, and the other,
it's not going to be there.
Contact Escrow is not the place for you. If you want to come, you want to grind, you want to work, you want to keep your customers happy, because that's what's going to keep them coming back.
Exactly.
We have the best environment. And as a company, we give back, I want to say, at least 20 to 25% of what we take as a company back into the local community. And it's not just in marketing dollars. It's not just things that give us exposure. That's the last thing we look for.
Well, you do a lot of events, and you know what? We're actually running out of time, and I really appreciate you stopping by the show, The American Entrepreneur. The next one's going to be in Spanish, so you have to pick up your Spanish, Peter.
See.
You have So I want to thank you, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll invite you again. Thank you for being an American Entrepreneur.